very warm, cold.
Yeah, I just love it. You know, it gives me it allows the players not to complain about heat. And that's part of it. And I think I just like being warm. It's fun being outside on the field with the players. But yeah, it's more of a mental thing, just making sure our kids have nothing to complain about and appreciating that regardless of the weather, we're rolling.
What have you seen from your young guys where you have a whole bunch of guys rotating, obviously the ones,
Yeah.
those guys first back practice? How's the growth been to this point?
Huge improvement from spring ball in terms of not just technique, their physique has changed, their mentality has changed. You know, we're becoming more physical. And because of it, you're seeing what you're seeing on the practice field. We are rotating, trying to compete for spots. You know, I do think there's 6 guys that are competing to start. You know, I think I feel confident with 6 guys playing. Rhino, Cooper, Braylon, Savell, for sure. Savell having a huge camp so far. Jeremiah Martin and Jordan Lolohea. You know, those guys already come. So you will see a lot of mix and match of all combinations, you know, so they can get comfortable with one another, but more importantly, just making sure they have their chance to go against our best, our one offense, and we can get a great evaluation from that.
You mentioned Savell. How have you kind of seen him progress?
Mentally, I mean, he's really come to compete. I mean, he's playing physical. It's all the other things that he's doing. For instance, the before practice, the after practice, taking care of his body. I mean, he's been in the training room for about 2 hours in post practice, but when practice is done, he's on. If you watch him, he's on the sleds, hitting the sleds again. You know, it's everything he can do to perfect, and that's the thing. You know, it's just maturity for him, but you can tell he's really locked in on trying to not only earn a spot, but making deserving within that room. I think the room is starting to see the change in him as well.
Coach, you mentioned Jordan Lolohea, and the last guy that I can remember that went on a 2-year mission and came back was Willie Cobb.
Yeah.
Willie, the 320-pound lineman, and came back after his mission at 220 pounds. How hard is that for a guy like Jordan to be gone 2 years and come back into football, and what kind of shape was he in when he returned?
Very hard, you know, very hard. Not only the weight issue because of the LDS mission, you know, and them not being able to work out, but also the mental aspect of it. Him coming back in, he really was a freshman, and then you have to deal with the people that were in your class, that were recruited in your class, and the growth that they've had, and then incoming freshmen, right? You don't see yourself as an incoming freshman, but he really was, and he was kind of at that level. So he battled with that all last year. This summer, one of the best workouts he's had since he's been here. He's changed his body. His body's now developing, and he's starting to go back to the player that we saw at East High School in Utah. So really, really excited about him. You can see his confidence has built all through summer and even through fall. So when he went in with the ones today, didn't skip a beat. He didn't skip a beat, and you know, I really look forward to good things from him.
How different is it right at this point compared to last year at this point? Because I think you had Tryon opt out.
Yeah.
You got Latu gets injured. So that one side, opposite Bowman, you're down to like the 3rd guy.
Correct.
How much better do you feel about this right now?
I feel like we will be one of the strengths of our defense, and partly, one is the maturity of that group. I think they put it on themselves to make sure we are not one of the weaknesses of the defense. You know, so I thought they had a great offseason, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be in the film room. They've held their own meetings throughout the summer to make sure that when we are here, you know, we're not learning from the start again. You know, we put in some new defenses for them to learn, and we put in some old defenses, but some guys are moving positions, you know, like Cooper McDonald. He moved from inside to outside, and he's doing one hell of a job right now. So I feel real confident. I think more importantly, they feel real confident about their growth up to this point. Now we really got to keep building as we go through camp.
At what point did you start getting updates that ZTF was progressing ahead of schedule?
It's really, daily, I kind of stay out of ZTF's progress because I don't want to get my own self excited. You know, when they tell me he's ready to roll, then we will. You know, I think it's just a day-to-day thing with him. I think what's important for Zion is his He's very mentally strong. He knows what he has to get done. He's in the training room really throughout the day. Whatever he can do, he's doing to give himself a chance to come play. But, it's fun to see him and the excitement that he has, and he's out there coaching. I think that's a benefit for us. Those younger guys, the incoming freshmen, Zion is holding meetings with them as well. So he's taking on his role the correct way, and hopefully we'll get him back.
Feeling comfortable in your new spot? Do you feel like you're in a nice comfort zone there?
Yeah, I love it. I guess, spring ball would be just like the players. I think I had to figure out my own bearings from moving from defensive lineman and then, picking up more coverage responsibilities and talking coverage terms like the defensive backs, but it brought me back to my old playing days and being back in this position. So I'm really excited about it, and I do feel comfortable now teaching what I teach, and then those guys are comfortable learning with my language, kind of transferring from what Coach K has done in the past.
Like, Taki and Thule, have entrenched in, they've played a lot and they've gotten better, but, behind them, who's taking the big steps and ready to plug in?
Well, Tui will be the first one. Tui Tele will be the first one, and he's very smart. He's always been smart, but I think his physical stature is starting to catch up to his mental part. So he's getting stronger on that part. And then the two surprises to me, Jacob Bandis is actually getting better. He's did a good job in the offseason. I think he will continue to progress and get better as a redshirt freshman. But the two incoming freshmen, Kwao and Voi, I think when you guys see Coach Rip, I'm sure he'll talk about those guys. But for how new they are to the program, they fit really well within our program. The physique that they have, the mentality that they have. Kwao was the second strongest bench presser on our team. So those guys have come in prepared. They have taken that step in terms of learning the package, and I think as they progress, they're going to have to get their bumps and bruises like every other freshman. But those guys, I think, will surprise some people this year.
Do you have to share Cooper McDonald with the inside?
No, not at this point. He has the knowledge of both, but I think we're good in depth chart on both sides.
You've obviously had Ryan for 6 years now.
Yeah.
And he's been kind of this mainstay, but how is he a different player than maybe a year ago?
I think it's very typical of a veteran player. We're watching film. I'll give you an example. We're watching film, and I'm just trying to teach the basic of hand placement, footwork, the direction that you're going, and then when I'm done, then he's telling the player, this is why you're doing it. When they're doing this is how it will help you. So he's encouraging them that, putting himself back in their place. But for him personally, he's taken a huge stride. He's learning the back end way more than the front end. He's well known as a defensive run defender as well as a pass rusher, and now he's starting to learn the whole playbook in terms of dropping and playing coverage. So he's picked up his game pretty good, but I think as a leader of that group, he is the leader of our group. He's taken that role on, and I appreciate that.
Is Jeremiah Martin caught on as much as you'd like?
Progressing. I would say he's progressing. And part of it is trying to figure out same as for a transfer. That's pretty common from anybody transferring in from somewhere else and trying to piece together and then use the verbiage that we use. But the skill set that he has is exactly what we need. So the responsibility really will be on myself to make sure that mentally he's caught up faster and then he can progress. I think as camp goes on, I think we'll see what skill set he has.
Okay, I think you might have raised some eyebrows in the spring when you said you thought that Braylon Trice could be even better than Joe Tryon.
Yeah.
I just wonder now that we're 5-6 months later, do you have a follow-up on his progression?
I still feel the same. I really do. I think the kid is progressing really well. He's stronger. He understands his length. Joe had length, and now Braylon's starting to understand how he can use that length. So you'll see him against tight ends, the likes of Cade Otton, which I think is one of the best run blockers in our conference. And Braylon, he's excited to go against Cade, and before he wasn't. The pass rush stuff, he has a knack of pass rush. He's very gifted in pass rush, and he's learning how to counter off of his power moves, right? So he has, he can tell you what he has in terms of his swipe, but he has a counter. He understands run leverage now, and I really believe this. I know I'm saying this on the front end, and he hasn't did much yet. But I think when it's all said and done, I really do believe he will be better than what we experienced with Joe Tryon.